let's all take our seats and close the door if we could. It's like that brilliant, you're all backlit, you know. So I'm going to welcome Reverend Victoria up for our Lighting the Flames of Faith.
Lighting the Flames of Faith, a call to service. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all people and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. We light the first candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practice of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light the 10th candle for those who are as yet unaware of spirit in their lives, and for the space we are holding for them here at the center. And as Reverend Jessica lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and I see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.
There is only love. And boy, I sure can feel it circulating here in this room. This is truly a co-creative experience that we are experiencing in that one intelligent mind, in that one open heart, that presence that is the only thing that is, God and only God. I know that we, by sitting here in these chairs, are in agreement that we are in union with that one. That yes, we are one, but we're not the same. We are all these unique emanations of God, having God's life live through and as us. And I know that this service is blessed and birthed from that very same place, that open heart of God. that open heart of that beautiful spirit that lives our lives, that beats our hearts. I know that this service is blessed from the very beginning, from the first service, from the meditation, our audio-visual people in the back, our live streamers, the children who are being taught these principles that if I'd only known when I was 8, that my life would have been so different. They're blessed. The teachers are blessed. Our ushers are blessed. The Kleenex sitting in their aisles are blessed so that we can have our feelings and be open and be present in this moment, in this service. Our music is so very blessed. Oh my Lord, I was here the first service. It is a treat today. Truly God's gift to us. I know that Reverend Victoria is even now opening to God's word to fall on God's ears. And this is a co-creative experience that we are all blessed sitting here in the sanctuary. I am so very grateful for this spiritual community known as the Center for Spiritual Loving here in Granada Hills. Spiritual living. So I release my word. I release this word into the action of the law from which it came. And we can affirm this by saying, and so it is. Thank you, Ken. Whew. Boy, what an exciting day. Mother's Day, and it's a beautiful day. I got 4 tires on my car yesterday. Boy, I tell you what a difference it is, having new tires. So, we've all heard that we're perfect, whole, and complete. For me, that's an absolute. I don't fully understand it, but I believe it's so. But sometimes it does cause me stress because I used to feel that all of me had to be perfect and that perfect was good and everything's in its divine right place. But what wholeness really means is that together all of our parts make us whole, even the imperfect side. I say that it's our neuroses, that our shadow side, that makes each of us unique. Because think about it, if we're all born perfect, whole, and complete in the image and likeness of God, then that's all, what we all are the same. What makes us unique is our neuroses, right? Okay, that works for me, all right? All right, and it's through working through our shadow side that kind of gives us our life purpose, all right? To grow in consciousness, we have to be willing to go towards those sharp points. That's what Pema Chodron talks about. We have to be willing to come apart at the seams, to be dismantled, to let our ego structures fall apart. To evolve spiritually, we have to allow these unworked, hidden, messy parts of ourselves to come to the surface. And this inquiry provides really juicy grist for my meditation, for my spiritual practice. But it's not a negative view, because some kind of breakdown is usually necessary before any significant breakthrough into new ways of living can happen. So it's not like being dismantled or surrendering is a bad thing. So there's 2 ways that people abort this process, or that I have aborted this process. And that's by running away and by spiritual bypass. The problem with running away is when the issue becomes difficult is that we're also turning away from ourselves and our potential breakthroughs. Fleeing these raw, wounded places because we don't think we can handle them is kind of a form of self-rejection and self-abandonment. And that's a scary place for me. It's a place where I feel unloved and unlovable. And in this teaching, we get tools to deal with the raw wounds of our hearts. We can be with them. So the second way to flee from the challenges of relationship is of our negative side is by spiritual bypass. And this is really prevalent in our teaching. It's using spiritual ideas or principles to bypass those issues. It's like we go, I'm perfect, whole, and complete. And we don't really think, we don't go towards those sharp points. We just kind of let them fester. Instead of running away or spiritually bypassing, my end game is acceptance. It goes past self-forgiveness. It's accepting. So I don't say I'm going to look for the perfection in me. I'm looking for my wholeness. I'm looking for the perfection and imperfection in me. I want to understand that the imperfect part is part of my growth. That recognizing it is that I know that it's divine, that I can see eventually through my spiritual evolution where the divinity is in this perfection. So the only thing that can create more oneness inside of me is the ability to see more of myself as I do things every day. So I can say to myself, fine, I'm impatient. I accept that. Fine, I'm depressed. I accept that. Fine, I want more money. I accept that. I'm going to inquire into that. Or fine, I have a better relationship with my mother now that she's been dead for 15 years. I mean, some people might not like hearing that, but it's true for me. So once I recognize that I'm all of these things, I can finally take a breath and open up, feel that safety of being in this divine life that we live, and create a flow of energy instead of a coagulation of negativity. Here at this center, we are here to heal those issues, to work through them, to give all of us a safe place to work through them. And today, in particular, we have the Healing Support Group. And I invite you, if you're working with any issues, to come today at 1 o'clock in the sanctuary. It is a safe, supportive, confidential space that you can see that it's okay that we can work through these issues. It's one of the ways that this spiritual community makes a difference. It's open to everyone. You don't have to be part of a member of this center. And in that way, we can create a world that works for everyone and a life that works for each one of us. Thank you.
Terry and Kale, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. So, okay, I can read after that. Okay. I'm going to do the announcements now. Today, like I said, we have a healing support group at 1 o'clock here in the sanctuary. I invite you to call your friends if they have any crises going on and have them come. We have the healing support. Yeah, we have the Sangha that starts May 11th, and the details are in Sparks Hall. It's a great group. If you can come during the day, amazing. And then on Tuesdays for the next starting on May 17th, for the next 3 Tuesdays, this is an amazing workshop. This gentleman, the doctor, is donating all of the proceeds to this to the center. He's doing it because he wants us to know about this healing process. Please, if you're in any way feeling called to come, please do. The rest of the announcements are in your program. Some of them are highlighted here, but we have meditation on Tuesday. We have visioning on the 2nd and 4th Thursdays. But there's so much stuff going on. For this center this size, we have so much going on. Be sure you avail yourself of these things. So, next, we're going to all stand and declare our principles. Okay. Let's go. We believe in one universal spirit, manifesting through all, natural and incarnated. We believe that the universal spirit is personal to and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe that our faith operates upon a law of mind, which automatically manifests in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life and in the immortality of the individual soul forever expanding. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the givingness of life to all. Stay standing. We're going to sing. And you can dance too.
Well, I got up this morning singing, God is so good. Well, I got up this morning singing, God is so good. Well, I got up this morning singing, God is so good. My God is so good to me. Yeah. Feeling good down in my soul. God is so good. Feeling good down in my soul. God is so good. Feeling good down in my soul. God is so good. My God is so good to me. Yeah. Well, I got up this morning singing, God is so good. Well, I got up this morning singing, God is so good. Well, I got up this morning singing, God is so good. My God is so good to me. Feeling good down in my soul. God is so good. Feeling good down in my soul. God is so good. Feeling good down in my soul. God is so good. My God is so good to me. Here we go. My God is so. My God is so. My God is so good to me.
Great. Huh. All right. It is my pleasure to bring Reverend Victoria to the platform. I have known Reverend Victoria before she was a practitioner, right? Yeah, we prayed together once back at Agape. And I have just seen her step into this calling just in such a deep, committed way. She was here for 18 months running our Sunday night service, Pipeline. And if any of you were ever fortunate to be here, you just got to taste that embodiment of Spirit, God's life living through her. And today, we get to see this evolution, an ever greater glory to greater glory. Reverend Victoria Thomas.
Thank you, Reverend Jessica. So, good morning, Granada Hills. It is such a joy to be here with you. Yes, I grew up at Agape, but I had the blessing of being able to spend time here for 18 months, and my heart was healed by that 18 months because it's easy to hide in a big community. And what happened when I spent time here, I was seen in an intimate way, and it truly healed my heart. And so I will always cherish this center and all of us as that part in my own process of healing. Thank you. And what a joy it is to be here today on Mother's Day. And thank you to this amazing musical inspiration. Where we got to see that divine feminine, that celebration of the eternal creative life force and how it is manifested as Pachamama, our planet, and that living life so abundantly giving and expressing and nurturing. How blessed we are that we get to experience our embodiment on such a wonderful, abundant planet, and that this planet is still alive and thriving. I'm so grateful for that. People will say, we're going to destroy the planet. We're going to destroy the planet. Well, you know what? She's a lot more powerful than that. She's going to probably boot humanity before she lets herself get destroyed. So let's hope that everything works out for us. Because planet's just fine. That mama is just fine. Anyway, Reverend Mike asked me to come and speak weeks ago, and I looked at the calendar. I was like, wow, it's Mother's Day. How wonderful. I'll get to talk about, the divine feminine and something really wonderful and honor all the mothers and all that. And then Dr. Maureen posted something on Facebook, and thank God I logged on that day and caught this amazing article that she posted. It was entitled something around "To All Pastors on Mother's Day," and I read this article and I was deeply moved by it. And so I just want to start out our celebration of Mother's Day by saying, if you were born from a woman, would you please stand up? If you were born from a woman, a female, yes, please rise. Oh, look, we're all celebrating Mother's Day. Thank you. Yes. A day where we get to honor that feminine, that divine feminine, even if our mothers, the woman who birthed us didn't raise us, or maybe the woman who birthed and raised us didn't do the kind of job that was ideal. Nonetheless, we had to come through somebody. We had to get here some way, somehow. And for that, we bow deeply to that person or those groups of people, and to that sacred divine feminine aspect that does this kind of work of bringing us in and ushering us to the point where we actually take ourselves in hand. That's the talk title today: Labor, Love, Let. Because at some point in our evolution as human beings on the planet, we have to actually take ourselves in hand. And we rebirth ourselves. We have to transform our own life. We live in a paradigm. We all live in a paradigm. What is a paradigm? It is the way you perceive the world. And because of your perception, it's inevitable that that's how the world will show up. It can't show up any other way. Physicists, quantum physicists, define this as the observer effect. Okay? There is no other way that your paradigm is going to present itself to you than the way you perceive it. Here's the good news. You get to change your perception. You absolutely get to change your mind about everything. And that's what we teach here in these centers of truth. And so, love, it's labor, love, let. And as we birth ourselves into a world that works for everyone, as we birth ourselves and heal our own mind through the practice of these universal spiritual principles, we labor. We love, we let. The labor part is the inner work. We have to do this. This can look like, well, in labor is contraction, right? It hurts. Even if you take an epidural, it's going to hurt. And it's a contraction. And what does that look like in our life? It looks like loss, grief. It looks like, changing of your relationships, your partnerships, or a job, or betrayal. A great betrayal. Contractions. Some of them are harder than others. But what do you do after a contraction? In the process of childbirth, you push, contract, push. And that is your consciousness. So when your paradigm is going to give you a contraction, it basically means you bought a pair of shoes called your paradigm. You've been wearing them for 5 years or whatever. One day, the shoe doesn't fit anymore. You can either continue to wear it and get blisters, or have it flop around, or maybe it's too tight and your toes are going to get crunchy, or you take your foot out of the shoe and you get a new pair of shoes. Okay? So the contraction, that's the blister. Maybe it's illness. Often a contraction can look like illness. And that's not like a reflection of what's unhealed in your consciousness. It means your soul is ready to grow. Also, things like this, the contractions of our life, can mean that you realize something in consciousness, and now the physical part of you, the body temple, is catching up. This is also known as chemicalization. You've heard maybe Ernest Holmes use that term, chemicalization. So when the contractions of our life happen, we push. And this is the inner work. It's basically what is unconscious in us seeking consciousness in our frontal lobe cortex of our brain. And so we do the inner work. We have to look inside at maybe the shadow work or that part of us that we have disowned. Anything and everything that you disown in yourself gets projected into the paradigm. It gets projected out there, and the world shows up that way. The world life is a mirror. Ernest Holmes writes this in this thing called You. Page 69, great little page there. Life is a mirror. And if the mirror reflects confusion, he writes, don't blame the law of reflection. Don't even blame yourself. But know that your consciousness is the very substance and source of the infinite wholeness, the infinite life. And you get to come into a deeper knowing of consciousness of what is real. See, the world of change, the world of facts, the world of form is not what is true. What is true is what is eternal. This is never changing. This is an infinite, eternal presence that has never been born and will never die. It is a reality that has always been the same, an ever-expanding, non-dual good. This is what is true. And this is where we live and move and have our being. We don't live and move and have our being in the world of form, in the world of experience or duality, the world of conditions. We experience that, but that's not where we have our beingness. Our beingness is an infinite, non-dual good, an infinite reality of ever-expanding, absolute good. And this is our job, is to come into that consciousness. And when we can bring out what we have disowned in us, then we stop projecting it into the mirror. Our consciousness no longer reflects that. And that's what Ernest Holmes says. We are in charge of what is going to be reflected. It's not that you caused the confusion or the contraction, but your consciousness caught the reflection because something in you. And we get to not disown that anymore. Bring it from what is unconscious to consciousness, and in the sunlight of the Spirit, it is healed. Where there is light, there can be no darkness. And so this is the labor. Labor also is our forgiveness work, which is inevitable. And to the degree that we are in alignment with the reality of our identity, to the degree that we can properly identify as who and what and where we really are, which is an infinite being of absolute pure light. The reality of you is that you have never been insulted. You have never, ever lost anything. Nothing has ever been diminished in your beingness. You have never been hurt. You have never been harmed. That's the absolute truth of you. Now, of course, we've all had the experience of it. We've all had the experience, but all that is changing. It's all coming to be and passing away. It's part of the experience of the contrast of this dimension known as the third dimension of duality, so that we can, in consciousness, remind and remember, put ourself back together in truth of what we really are. To the degree that we are identifying properly with the reality of our being, forgiveness work is not that difficult. Of course, forgiveness work is really easy if people are sorry, right? But what if they're not sorry? What if they think you're the problem? Then it's hard. And I think we probably all might have somebody in our life that maybe even still does what they do. Or maybe they died and you're left with dealing with it. And like Reverend Jessica was saying, well, after 15 years of spiritual work, my relationship's really easy because they're dead. And I get to create the reality. But what if they're not dead? What if they're still doing that? Then you're left to do this on your own. Well, like I say, the work can be so grace-filled to the degree that you come into an awareness of your true nature, your true identity. Then you can rewrite your whole story. Your whole past is rewritten. If you can look at the things that occurred, the insults, I say with quotes, and look at them as initiation experiences, shamanic initiation experiences. In a shamanic indigenous culture, the shaman, who is the healer of the tribe, of the community, has to go under tremendous, painful initiatory experiences that will cause an identity break. I mean, I'm talking like physical, mental, emotional. Some tribes, they get spit on and stoned, and they're deprived of sleep and food and water. The Lakota hang themselves from these hooks in their chests to create this, extreme, adrenaline, and it's a full identity break. Yeah. And many times, in our Western culture, we have. We've looked at children who have epilepsy as a diagnosis. But in an indigenous culture, somebody that's been severely abused, or maybe they have early childhood epilepsy or clairvoyant tendencies, you can see, in our Western, we tend to medicalize it, and then you're given pills, and it's called an illness, and then they're dealt with, right? But in an indigenous culture, these are called shamanic, they're called clues to a shamanic vocation, and that child would have been taken off and raised with the shaman and trained. And so, we're kind of confused here in the West. But we haven't been westernized most of our time on this planet. So let us look to the indigenous cultures for some of that deeper wisdom. And to know that you too have had initiatory experiences in your life. And you get to rewrite that. You get to rewrite that story. And that makes us look at these people that maybe did things to us in a different light. Maybe there's a deep soul contract there. Like they showed up that way on purpose for your soul evolution. Perhaps you even asked them to before you took embodiment. Otherwise, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't have gone down that painful path that would lead you to a spiritual study. I know this is how it is for me. I have a great story about my own sister who was she wasn't a Hallmark card sister. and it caused a lot of low self-esteem most of my life. And I had to do that work all by myself for years. Forgiveness is an action until it becomes something that occurred. It's like, oh, wow, I actually forgave. People are not going to be sorry as long as they have to unconsciously or consciously defend themselves. And so it wasn't until I finally actually realized she was completely forgiven, I bowed to her soul for helping be one of those people that put me on a path of seeking light and spiritual awakening. And only then did she come to me and say, I'm so sorry. I wish I'd been a better sister. But there was nothing left to forgive. There was no like, well, finally. There truly was nothing left to forgive. Like that's what we do. We reach that place in consciousness and then we reach back for the one. And we bring them with us. Because we're not going home until we all go home. That is the oneness. So that's the labor. And the love, of course, is what I was saying. It's that proper identifying. Your job is to come into such a greater and greater awareness every day of your life, of the reality of your being. You were created out of the image and likeness of the divine on purpose. You would not be here if there weren't a great and mighty purpose for your life. God created you and placed all of its beauty and all of its abundance and all of its intelligence in you so that it could experience and express more of itself through your life. Just look at nature and let it prove itself to your mind. A rose was not created so that it would not fully bloom and reveal its fragrance. A rose doesn't look at its deservability or, oh, well, I was born in concrete, so I'm not supposed to do this. No, a rose knows exactly that it was created to unfold and release all of its gifts. And that is the truth for our life. And to the degree that we know this is the love. This is the love. And then the let. We have to let it be. When you look at a condition in your life, let it be. Back up off of it. Get back to your work. Only God, only God, only God. I've never been hurt, harmed, or endangered. I can't possibly know what's really going on here. Let me just back up off of it and get to the neutral mind, the truth. And then we let go. Oh, you're going to have to surrender your whole life to the Spirit of the living God. And if you don't know what that is, or you don't trust that, then get on a path. Take classes. Get a spiritual study group. Get a prayer partner. Because you cannot trust what you don't think is trustworthy. But I'm here to tell you that the thing that created you out of itself, that has had your back your whole entire life because it is your back, you can trust it. You can trust it. So surrender everything to it and let God. This is the grace of God. If you can know what is trustworthy and surrender your whole life to it, boom, all you need is a tiny little opening, and that grace just flies in and transforms everything in ways you have no idea. I mean, we have the best vision. People make vision boards, right? Oh, I've got this vision. It's for my life. Honey, that is the smallest idea. God's vision for your life is beyond any paper magazine cutout you could paste up on a vision board. Our job is to come into alignment with a greater awareness, direct contact. It is your birthright and it is your destiny, and grace will transform your life. And this is what I know. Let's pray. And how grateful I am to know this living presence, this absolute truth, that it really is my life and the life of each and every one of us. I know that God is love, and this love makes every crooked thing straight. This love makes a way out of no way. It is a living, creative intelligence that only knows its own name and nature. It does not create an opposite. It does not have its activity in opposition. It is a non-dual, ever-expanding good, and it is the life of each and every one of us and everyone that is live streaming and anything within the sound of my voice. There is only one. It is God, and it is our life. And so it is from this oneness that I just know that healing is on the scene, that something magnificent is taking place today, and it is the infinite power, intelligence, the love and beauty activating and revealing itself as each and every aspect of our life. Abundance and creativity and dynamic, radiant health and a compassionate understanding in all of our relationships. It's happening now because we said yes. And so I give such great thanks, knowing that my word is a law unto itself because I have spoken it with the authority of one who knows who and what and where she is. Therefore I know it is returned fulfilled, and I release it. I let it be. And so it is. Amen.
Sweet mother, I'm coming home. Now I know I'm not alone. 'Cause I've been far. Now I'm close. Sweet mother, I'm coming home. Tell me, mother, can you hear me sing? Tell me, mother, can you hear me sing? Your love is everything. Your love is everything. Heart and soul, breath and skin. Your love is everything. Your love is everything. Oh, mother, please hold me tight. Mother, I need some help tonight. Mother, I need some help tonight. What went wrong? What went wrong? Will soon be right. Soon be right. Oh, mother, please hold me tight. Oh, mother, please hold me tight. Tell me, mother, can you hear me sing? Tell me, mother, can you hear me sing? Your love is everything. Heart and soul. mother, this world is strange.
Oh, mother, this world is strange.
Love me, mother, and make me brave.
Love me, mother, and make me brave.
In my dreams,
My dream
on this stage.
on this stage.
Oh, mother, this world is strange.
Oh, mother, this world is strange.
So tell me, mother, can you hear me say?
Tell me, mother, can you hear me say?
Your love is everything.
Your love is everything.
Heart and soul,
Heart and soul,
breath and skin.
breath and skin.
Your love is everything.
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 So now it's time for our sacred giving of our gifts and tithes and offerings. And as the ushers are coming forth, we're just dropping down into our heart field. I invite you to just drop out of the mind into the heart, because this is actually where all of your power is. There's more brain neurons in the heart than there is in the brain. Did you know that? And give from that place. Give from that place that doesn't measure or add or subtract, and demonstrate this infinite principle of absolute abundance that is expressing through your life. Even if you're only giving $1, just feel like it's $10. Just infuse it with that heart field energy. And this will be a reflection and will reveal and express itself as your experience as you move forward. If you practice this, and as you're giving, keep in mind what a great blessing it is to be able to have a spiritual center to give to. Because if you can give to where you get your spiritual food, you will never go hungry. I promise you this. And so we're going to outstretch our heart through our hand, and we bless these gifts. We bless these tithes. We bless this offering, this promise in the promissory note, knowing that it just unfolds and expands and multiplies, blessing this Granada Hills Center for Spiritual Living, its staff and its ministries and its outreach programs and its congregation, its beloved community, knowing that there's a healing, that something wonderful is happening because of the expression of givingness and universal flow through us this day. I bless it. It is good. And so it is. Amen. Oh, yes. Oh, he did it.
All right, so we have the kids coming in. We're going to see what happened back there. Thank you, Victoria. All right. No. I do. We'll get this together. We're all one. All right. So, Erica, what did you guys do back there today?
We just celebrated all the moms for the children, and they made Mother's Day cards and lots of messy art.
So we make a Mother's Day card, and it says, "Happy Mother's Day to everyone. I love you." And it says, Dear mothers, you make others people happy too. Let it be and let it go and let be free.
All right. So I know that our tweens were very active in the back there, and they must be wrapping up their project. We just blessed them in what they were doing. So I would like to ask our practitioners to stand and circle the room. And if you have any healing that needs more attention, let's just silently place it into this loving field, this emergent field of the divine. And just feel that open heart. Feel how relaxed we are living this life of God. That we are relaxed into love, that we are surrendered into love, that we're just allowing all of the greatness that we are to just be. There's not a push, a struggle, a pull. We just recognize that it is, that we are one with this Alpha and Omega, the center and the circumference, with the infiniteness that God is. We are. And I know that we have taken the gifts that we have co-created in this second service today. And we go forth this week illumined, sending forth this love in all 6 directions, up, down, north, south, east, west, that we radiate it. And this is what is reflected back to us. We gather this evidence that we are living God's life through us, as us. That there's no question in our mind that we live from the heart. So we just feel that and allow it. See how easy it is, how graceful it is, how loving it is. And we know that we can always come back to this spot, because this is our being. Let. I am very grateful for this spiritual community. I'm very grateful that we had this time together, that the love streamers are here with us, that we have changed the planet because of our consciousness today, that this ripples out through, and we have created a world that works for everyone and a life that works for each one of us. So I release my word into the action of the law, and we can affirm this by saying, and so it is.
Please stand for the peace song.
Thank you.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Thank you so much, man. I really, really appreciate it. And I miss you a lot, right? I miss having you here because we joke around all the time. I appreciate it. I will definitely call you. I will call you. It's fine. It's no problem at all. I don't even look at my computer or anything till Tuesday morning. So yeah, don't worry about it. Anything you want to do is fine with me. We got